Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are fine. So, as we have completed the first chapter of geography that talks about resources, we today in this class we will recapitulate the whole chapter. So, first of all, what is resource? We studied that anything that can be used to satisfy a need is called as a resource. It may be the bulb, it may be the rickshaw, it may be your textbook, the vegetable you eat, everything is a resource as these things are satisfying your need. Further, we studied that how a substance is called as a resource. The substance should have the utility here, as you can see, the utility or the usability to be a resource. Like the substance should be useful for the person to be called as a resource. So later on, what is the thing? That its use or utility gives it a value. All resources have some value. Now the thing is, how does a substance or how does something become a resource? How is it possible? As we studied about the utility and usability, so this the use and the utility, it gives a value to the resource, to the to the substance, and all the resource have some value. Value means worth. Some resources have economic value and some have aesthetic value. I mean, in the slide we discussed about the economic value and the aesthetic value. Metal, it can have economic value, but a landscape, it cannot have economic value. But both are important and satisfying the human needs. Understood? And we studied about the example of trees. All right, trees. Aesthetic means what? Aesthetic adds something, you know, some beauty to that particular substance. So what is the economic value of tree? That it provides us with the air, the oxygen, the furniture, fruits, vegetables, etc. And what is the aesthetic value? It adds beauty to the environment. Then further, we studied about the time and technology are the two important factors that can change substance into resource. Both are related to the need of the people. Then we studied about the time and technology, which makes a substance a resource. All right. Like, if you remember, I gave you the example of the discovery of fire. Here also you can see the discovery of fire led to the practice of cooking and other processes, while the invention of wheel ultimately resulted in the development of newer modes of transport. The technology to create hydroelectricity has turned energy in fast flowing water into an important resource. So the discovery of fire, discovery of wheel, discovery of generating electricity with the help of water. These all things are now useful, and by the time with the help of technology. One thing I left, this one, patent. We studied about patent. What is it? It means the exclusive right over any idea or intervention. Then we studied about the types of the resources. So types of resources are basically categorized into three types: natural, human made, and human resources. Natural resources are further classified into level of development and use, origin, stock, and distribution. On the basis of level of development and use, it is classified into actual and potential resources, which is actual resources whose quantity is known, and potential resources are those resources whose entire quantity may not be known, and these are not being used in the present. Rather, it can be used for the future. Further, we studied about the distribution of natural resource on the basis of origin. It is abiotic and biotic. Abiotic resources are non-living and biotic resources are living. Soil, rocks, and minerals are abiotic, but plants and animals are biotic resources. Natural resources can be broadly categorized into renewable and non-renewable resources. So now natural resources on the basis of stock, it is categorized into renewable and non-renewable resources. So renewable resources are those which gets renewed after use, and non-renewable resources which have a limited stock. On the basis of their distribution, we studied about the ubiquitous and the localized resources. The resources that are found everywhere, like the air we breathe, are ubiquitous, but those which are not found is known as everywhere is known as localized. For example, you can take copper and iron ore. Then the distribution, we studied about the distribution of the natural resources depend upon the number of physical factors. And what are the physical factors? We studied with the help of the mind map or the flow chart, you can see. Terrain, climate, and altitude. Topography also is there. The distribution of resources is unequal because these factors differ so much over the Earth's surface. Further, we have studied about the human-made resources. So, human-made resources. Sometimes natural substances become resources only when their original form has been changed. Iron ore was not a resource until people learned to extract iron from it. People use natural resources to make buildings, bridges, roads, machinery, and vehicles, which are known as human made resources. Technology is also a human made resource. So, human made resource, something that we get from nature, we call it natural resource. Like, and when people started interrupting, people started using their ideas, their inventions, people started using their skills, then certain things were changed, and those things, the change form was known as human made resource. As here you can see, iron ore was not a resource until people learned to extract iron from it. People use natural resources to make buildings, bridges, roads, machinery, and vehicles. So by with the help of technology, the human resources were you know discovered. Further, we studied about human resource. It means human as a resource. People can make the best use of nature to create more resources when they have the knowledge, skills, and the technology to do so. For that is why human beings are a special resource. People are human resource. Education and health help in making people a valuable resource, improving the quality of people's skills so that they are able to create more resources is known as human resource development. Now, human resource. As we know, people they can use the best they can use the resources in a best way with the help of their skills, knowledge, quality, and education and health. It helps in making people a valuable resource. Now, what is human resource development? Improving the quality of people's skills so that they are able to create more resources. It is known as human resource development. Further, we studied about the resource conservation, conserving resources. The two methods we study resource conservation is what? First of all, using resource carefully and giving them time to get renewed is known as resource conservation, while balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for the future is known as sustainable development. There are many ways of conserving resources. Each person can contribute by reducing consumption, recycling, and reusing. Ultimately, it makes a difference because all our lives are linked. So, resource conservation, we studied about three R's: reduce, recycle, and reuse. Here also in the glossary part you can see sustainable development, carefully utilizing resources so that besides meeting the requirements of the present, also takes care of future generations. It is known as sustainable development. Some principles of sustainable development. What were the principles? Respect and care for all forms of life, improve the quality of human life, conserve the earth's vitality and diversity, minimize the depletion of natural resources, change personal attitude and practices towards the environment, enable communities to care for their own environment. So this much we studied about some of the principles also. Here, as you can see, the future of our planet and its people is linked with our ability to maintain and preserve the life support, even system that nature provides. Therefore, it is our duty to ensure that all uses of renewable resources are sustainable, the diversity of life on the earth is conserved, the damage to natural environment system is minimized. So, on working on all these points, we can create a new green world, a new green environment for everyone. So I hope you will do the assignment, the worksheets, and the notes of the whole chapter is also provided on your school web page. Go through it